3.
Hello, my name is Anna Kirk. These are my team members.
Hi, I'm Colin Morrison.
Hi, I'm Maddie Groff.
The title of our project is America's Public Health Crisis: Cultural, Socioeconomic, and Scientific Factors. When a person's weight is greater than what is considered healthy for a given height, that person is overweight or obese. In order to be clinically obese, your body mass index must be over 30. Obesity has become an epidemic over the last 30 years. Today, more people in the world are obese than starving, and obesity has become the new form of malnutrition. Increasingly, more people are dying from being overweight, and more children are becoming clinically obese at a younger age. 2 out of every 3 Americans are either overweight or obese. At our current rate, 95% of Americans will be obese within 2 decades. So what is causing this epidemic? Society tends to focus the blame on fast food and lazy lifestyles while overlooking a deeper issue. Our group's research question is, what are the leading factors causing the obesity epidemic in the 21st century? Now over to Maddie, who looked at the issue of obesity through a cultural lens.
In today's society, media has a harmful effect on obesity through unhealthy advertisements, excluding obese individuals in film, and excessive snacking while binge watching. The amount of time children and teens spend viewing fast food commercials while in front of the TV is alarming in today's society. Josie Clark, journalist for The Independent Worldwide, believes to solve this issue, fast food industry should be banned for good from online advertising, as it would help decrease the obesity rates. She predicts that by July 2018, all high-fattening, high-sugar, and salt products will be banned. Obese individuals are not portrayed in Hollywood because Americans are uncomfortable with the idea of obesity. According to Frances O'Connor, author of 5 health and wellness books, states, commercials, TV programs, and movies show people eating proportions that are much larger than nutritionists say is healthy. When obese people are in movies or shows, they are portrayed as the funny guy or the best friend, while the thin, fit person is portrayed as the popular kid. O'Connor begins to explain the character Nacho Libre. He's a funny, lovable guy. The message of this character is that overweight people are not as important as thin people, and their feelings do not need to be as respected as much. Hollywood creates a negative stereotype on all obese individuals. Live streaming applications like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime have allowed people to binge watch their favorite TV shows, which has caused significant weight gain in America. Binge watching has become America's favorite way of watching TV. Researchers from Cornell University Food and Brand Lab have found that The Walking Dead causes 98% more people to eat than while watching a talk show. Research has shown that action sci-fi films increase the snacking because of the pace of the show. Experts say that the major cause of obesity is the amount of time that children and teens spend sitting in front of the television and computer. Now over to Colin with the socioeconomic lens.
In the 21st century, obesity has become a prominent issue in America's health system. The United States is viewed as an obese nation because Americans are consuming more calories than ever before. Genetics, media, and the environment all play vital roles in obesity. However, low income is the leading cause of obesity in America. The driving factor to this increase in consumption results from the inability of low-income families finding and reaching these healthy food options. This brings me to my first point. The increased consumption of fast food is leading to an increase in obesity. Fast food is heavily available in low-income areas, which poses a threat to their health, as high-fat, sugary food is their cause to their increase in weight. Janet Curry, a researcher from UC Berkeley, discusses the effect fast food restaurants have on obesity. In her 2009 study, she analyzes how close proximity to a fast food restaurant affects the obesity rates of over 3 million school children. School students who lived a tenth of a mile away from a fast food restaurant have seen to have a 5.2 increase in obesity than a student who was half a mile away. In other terms, communities that were closer to a fast food restaurant have shown to have increased obesity rates. Franchises, which are typically fast food restaurants, open up their stores where they have the highest demand. This highest demand lies in densely populated, low-income areas because this is where their profit will be maximized. They are their target consumers. The franchises may be making a lot of money, but they're also contributing to the increasing obesity rates. This brings me into my next point. Low-income areas have minimal access to healthy food options. The supply of healthy food markets available in low-income areas is very minimal. In addition, families have transportation issues that prevent them from reaching these healthy food options. A report done by Sarah Treffhard and Allison Carpenter, 2 researchers from Food Trust and PolicyLink, analyzed the lack of healthy food options in low-income areas. They state low-income zip codes have 25% fewer chain supermarkets and 1.3 times as many convenience stores. Low-income communities do not have access to these healthy, fresh produce, which leads them towards buying cheap, processed food. This brings me into my last point. Due to the price of fresh produce, low-income families have difficulty buying healthier food. Low-income families struggle to afford fresh produce when it expires much quicker and is inefficient enough to feed a whole family. Thomas Farley, a New York City health commissioner, states, "The families who worry about where they're going to get their next meal are the same population seen with the highest obesity rates. Without a suitable income, families struggle to afford healthy food." Now I'm going to pass it off to Anna, who looked at obesity through a scientific lens.
Society tends to focus the blame on fast food and lazy lifestyles while overlooking a deeper issue. Biological factors are a leading cause of high obesity rate in 21st century America. Hormones in the endocrine system can cause a high level of weight gain. Chris Gunners, a nutrition researcher with a bachelor's degree in medicine, targets the hormone leptin. Leptin is produced by fat cells, and its function is to send signals to the hypothalamus to tell the brain that the body is satiated and that the individual should stop eating. Obese individuals have an excess of leptin due to their excess of fat cells. This signal gets weaker and the brain becomes resistant, and the body takes much longer to feel full. This is called leptin resistance. Another hormone to credit is insulin. Insulin is commonly known as the diabetes hormone. When diabetic patients pump insulin into their blood, it lowers their blood sugar. But where does this excess blood sugar go? According to Dr. Robert Lustig, pediatric endocrinologist, it is stored in fat. The more insulin a diabetic puts into their system to survive, the more fat they gain. Both congenital and addictive disorders can also cause a lifelong struggle with obesity. Many individuals who are obese can attribute it to a disease they were born with. The most common symptom of these genetic diseases is uncontrollable weight gain. Not only can congenital diseases cause obesity, but addictive diseases as well. There are theories that say that binge eating disorder overlaps with the same concepts as any other addiction. When people indulge in food to the point where they feel they can't stop eating, despite the decline in their health, it becomes addiction. Finally, the genetic makeup of individuals can cause them to be predisposed to obesity. Stephen Guinnett, a writer and science consultant with a bachelor's degree in biochemistry and a PhD in neurobiology, conducted a study where he overfed 12 pairs of identical male twins. He recorded their body changes and found that all pairs gained the same amount of weight in the same places. He suggests that some people are genetically predisposed to gaining fat. Arguing that it is unfair to judge someone based on their weight, he suggests that genes determine how likely you are to become obese or how hard you'll have to work to remain lean if you're genetically predisposed to obesity. Some can attribute their weight to genetics, hormones, and diseases. Now over to Colin with our group solution.
So our solution is a two-step approach, one involving the communities themselves and the other with the corporate fast food companies. First, there needs to be an increase in healthier options in closer proximity to areas with low income. With a variety of healthy options available, impoverished families will refrain from eating the unhealthy, fattening fast foods. To do this, a program called Farm to Table should be introduced in areas with low income. Local farmers in the area will supply the families with weekly servings of fresh produce at a reasonable cost. Secondly, an elimination of fast food advertising will decrease consumption. While completely prohibiting fast food advertising is impossible to achieve, a cap should be placed on the amount of commercials or advertising a fast food company can show. Professor Nina Moldy, president of Royal College of Pediatrics, states, "Banning fast food advertising will be a positive step forward in the rising prevalence to tackle the overweight and obesity in children. Limiting this exposure to fast food advertising will greatly improve children's perception on fast food." Now I'm going to pass it off to Maddie with the implications and limitations to our proposed solution.
While we realize our solution has flaws, if implemented, it will help poor communities turn the corner to a more healthy and prosperous life. Weekly fresh produce will allow families to eat healthier, and less advertising from fast food companies will not draw young children to eating their food. A few limitations to our solution include the seasonal issue to our Farm to Table program. Farmers may only have fresh produce at certain times of the year, and if the goal is to supply the families weekly, imported produce will have to be substituted on weeks the farmers can't supply. For the second part of our solution, an advertising cap will be difficult to achieve because there are many different obstacles to get a law like this passed. If successful, families will stray away from fast food and focus on eating healthy. While these programs may not help solve the obesity epidemic in America, it will allow unhealthy families to turn the corner to a new, healthy lifestyle.
Anna, in the future, what change would you make to your group norms, and how would you expect that to improve the team presentation?
Well, in our group norms currently, Colin was sort of the facilitator and kept everyone on track. But in the future, I think just having more clear communication between all of our group members would help aid us in the process of this presentation, since it's so vital to know not only your lens but everybody else's, so communication would definitely be beneficial.
Colin, what is an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' individual reports that you decided to exclude from your team presentation, and why?
Okay, so Anna did the scientific lens, and she had a compelling point about the set point theory, which you're sort of born with a certain amount of fat cells that's impossible for you to lose, and different people have a different amount of fat cells, and unfortunately Anna was, with the time refining, she was unfortunately not able to put it in our presentation. I think if she put that in there, that would have offered a different sort of point that could have helped our presentation.
Maddie, in what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
From this project, I personally, I learned to communicate with my group members and take everyone's opinion into consideration, not just mine. And learning about all different kinds of lenses.